I actually got my stand today, so that's awesome. It still looks kind of like dirty. I wonder how I look if I turn off the light a little bit. Like, would it be too dark, or would I just kind of look sexy? Oh, I look sexy. All right, we'll just go with it like this. Cool, cool. I like that. All right. Got my headphones. My show doesn't officially start for another 7 minutes. So I'm just going to reflect quietly. Well, I'm thinking about a lot. Tomorrow is the Cincinnati Poetry Slam, and I went in September. So I'm going back again, and I'm gonna do my damnedest to it's not so much about winning, but it's just being on purpose. But I'm nervous. So I'm just thinking about it, going over my poem in my head, and I'm like, you got this, girl, you got this, you got the juice, you got it. But I hope everyone is having a great day. Today's topic for the show is I wanted to discuss Tia Mowry. I did mention them a few weeks ago when she first announced her divorce from Corey. And there's been some developments online, some further speculation about what went on in their relationship. And I want to talk about that. Also, I want to talk about Lori Harvey in addition to that. And there's speculation that she's back together with Future. And I think that it's really important to discuss these relationships in a sense of just the two, just I have a lot to say. Okay, hey Taquan, hi, yo, where are you? I haven't heard. Wait a second, sir. Wait a second. I haven't heard from you, Mister. Are you coming to Cincinnati with me tomorrow? I got room for one more in my car. I haven't talked to you, sir. I hope you're doing well and having a great day. I don't think you're at school today. I feel like I would have seen you. Okay, but anyways, so I do want to talk about those two relationships as well as some other things, but mostly those because when it comes to relationships lately, I've been very, very sensitive to it. So we have some great music. If you want to listen to the music that we have playing currently, please go to www.undergroundcolumbus.com. We are WDG Underground Columbus, home of the unsigned artist. And if you are an unsigned artist, please share with us your creativity. Just make sure that there is no profanity in your music. It can be removed at a fee. Charged by the People's DJ Frost. And this is the start of the afternoon power hour. I am Sabrina Faith, host of SaBreezy Speaks. After me is going to be the People's DJ Frost. And then after him at 3 o'clock will be Shahida to round out the afternoon at 4 o'clock. So stay tuned. My show starts in 5 minutes. And then I'll get to talking. I'm just reflecting in my head real quick and moving some stuff around. The microphone. But I'm really excited. It's going to be a great road trip tomorrow. I have a DJ Frost is coming with me. My friend B the Poet. He is going to be opening the Poetry Slam. We call him the Sacrificial Lamb, which is hilarious. But his poetry is to be taken seriously. He is a phenomenal poet. He even is putting together a poetry event that is happening next month called Wolf. Words only live forever. There we go. That's what it's called. So it's going to be a great time. There's 4 of us dysfunctional poets who are going to be performing in one evening. One day when we're super huge and super well known, people are going to be like, what? We missed it? 4 of you on one stage? Woo! So I'm very excited. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to go ahead and sign up for the slam. There's a 16 poets. One person dropped out and another friend of mine was able to get into it, so that was great. So all right, about to start up soon. There is a segment going on right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Yes, Black Lean starts. I absolutely love Black Lean. It's an awesome song. Again, if you want to listen to music by artists, and most of our artists are students that attend here at the Ohio Media School. And Black Lean, I actually got to meet him in person. He's a really cool dude. And he has this song called Atlantis that I very much enjoy. So check it out again, www.undergroundcolumbus.com. So today's topic in which I wanted to speak on is so it's been going around a lot of speculation about why Tia Mowry and her husband have divorced. My opinion is that it's none of our business. However, you know how social media is very messy with things. So apparently, she went on to a video that was on Instagram, and I have actually seen this gentleman. He, and I need to get this correct. He does videos in regards to narcissism because he says he is a recovering narcissist. And he was doing a parody of him moving in with somebody, and they're supposed to be paying the bills together. But this other person is like, paying the bills? Well, what were you doing before I moved in with you? You were paying the bills, right? So why should that change now that I live with you? And apparently Tia, she liked the post. She even left a comment under it where, kind of like the eye emojis or something. She didn't really come out and say, this is exactly what I dealt with in my marriage to Corey. So now it has everyone jumping on the bandwagon because people don't just do things without a purpose. Obviously, there was a purpose behind her doing that. And everyone is speculating that it's because in her marriage, she was with a broke Black man. Because, of course, she met him at a bus stop when he really didn't have much. And her sister gave him a ride, and they were friends for more than 20 years after that. 2 kids and a marriage later. What I want to say about that is I find it to be very annoying. Like, I find it to be very annoying because it's the double standard that comes, especially when it is with women, that everyone is applauding Tia and saying that she's standing in her truth. And again, we don't even know if that's true. She could have came across that video, has a friend that's going through that situation, and was like, you know what? This sounds familiar. My friend is going through this, so I'm going to like this and leave a comment. So it could have had nothing to do with her marriage and had nothing to do with Corey being a broke guy. And I find it hard to believe that people would actually think that this man hasn't grown or earned any money in the time that he's been married to this woman. I mean, he's a father, he's a husband. He had to have done something in order to get this woman's attention and in order to have the life that they have. We don't know their finances and what goes on in their household. But I left a comment underneath the video because everyone has been chewing up Corey for weeks. And this man, he's had to shoot down cheating rumors. So now they're going back to pretty much shaming him financially, saying that he's just not doing enough. And we don't know that to be true. If the roles were reversed and Corey was the one being messy online, leaving subliminal messages for us to be like, oh, she was just a bitch in the marriage or anything. If he was the one who was doing that, we would be dragging his behind, honey. We would be dragging him. But no, Tia gets applauded for speaking her truth and essentially putting down the father of her children and a man that, regardless of his financial standing, has stood by her as a spouse and a friend for more than 20 years. I think that's just absolutely terrible. I really, really choose to think and believe that she is not being that messy. I'm like, girl, if you have something to say, come out and say it. You say everything else. You know what I mean? Like, if that's your truth, then come out and say it. But don't just go around skating on social media, and you know how the internet is. You absolutely know how they are. I just think that it's a terrible double standard, and we would be dragging Corey if he was sitting there being messy about Tia. We would be very protective of Tia, but Tia can do it, and nobody checks her for that type of stuff. If that's indeed what's going on, because again, whatever it is, even if that's the case, she hasn't been bold enough to come out in a statement and say, "Oh yeah, I'm leaving him because he just wasn't pulling his weight financially." You said she should have left him at the bus stop where she found him. Never try to start a relationship and potential. Well, you're right. Someone said it very well. You are not supposed to marry someone for their potential. You just don't do it. And it's just it's just there has to have been something there about this man for her to have stuck through it with him. And I can't imagine what dating in Hollywood was like for her at her age, because what were they were, what was she, 19 years old when she met him? I think she was just in her early 20s. And to have been a well-established actress with a well-established bank account reputation, I mean, her and her sister are very well respected, especially in the black sector of the entertainment industry. So to find somebody who can go toe to toe with you, it may have been a challenge. Like take Gabrielle Union for instance. And I don't really like Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. I mean, just in off the strength of what's happening with the children, and how how Dwayne Wade's first wife, who stuck by him even when he wasn't much, of a celebrity at the time, and he was coming up as a player. I just don't like how that woman was pushed out of her children's lives. And you have Gabrielle, who rumor has it she was pretty much messing around with this man while he was still married, and then he had a baby on her. So that but it took Gabrielle a while to find an eligible man in the industry, so to speak. I believe it was an industry hookup, and she couldn't just get out of it. She had to let it run its course. And that's a red flag, isn't it? That's a red flag. But everyone's looking at Tia's side. Nobody's looking at Corey's side. They're just making it seem as though she had no choice but to stay with a dude who everyone is saying is a bum. And I don't see a bum when I look at Corey. I think that's totally unfair. And I really wish that he was able to come out and tell his side of the story, because low key, because no, I'm gonna keep it real with you. He is a far better actor than Tia is. I enjoyed Tia on Sister Sister. I think a few seasons of The Game she did a good job. But Corey is a good actor. Unfortunately, getting into the acting industry is work. It's really hard. It's a lot harder than people realize. But this man has been consistently working at that goal and being an actor. And again, I said this before. I've never seen this man use her for clout. Never to she was a pass around. Ooh. But she was young though. If they knew each other for 20 years, she was young. And I mean, with the reputation that Tia and Tamara have had and the way that they were raised, I remember I saw them on TBN, saying now they profess Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, but you don't know people, do you? You sure don't know people behind the scenes. Absolutely not. But I just think it's unfair for people to judge Corey and not have heard his side of the story. I think that he's wise to not be saying anything, not to be messy, to stand on the fact that he loves the mother of his children, and that he's just focused on his career. He's on All American Homecoming, and fans of that show think he's doing a great job. To me, my first contact with his acting was in a movie called Brotherly Love that was put on by Queen Latifah and her Flavor Unit. It even has Keke Palmer in the movie, and I think the movie should have been much bigger than it was, but it got a limited release. She should have went with Roger. And it got a limited release, so it didn't really get the attention that it deserved. But it's such a good story. I think the acting was incredible from everyone involved. It even has Kim Porter and Albie Shore's son in it, Quincy, who's another good actor. Hey, Sony. Just because he's not Sylvester Stallone doesn't mean he doesn't have a career. This man does have acting credits. And again, we don't know what he does behind closed doors. He's not out there like Tia is. And again, he's never jumped on her coattails and used her for clout. So yeah, he has a career, whether you want to agree with that or not, because he's currently acting in something as we speak. He has a job. He's gainfully employed. And again, he's not out here with a whole bunch of baby mamas. He's not out here in and out of jail. He's, even with the separation, we still don't see this man crying, talking about, oh, Tia, my money back, come back. Like I said, people are very unfair to this man. And there's a double standard when it comes to black men and black women. And I'm just not here for it. I'm not. And if she's really being messy about her relationship, I'm not here for that attitude either. Because like I said, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors and all the things that he could tell us about Tia that she needs to work on. She's on this whole self-love campaign. And that's all well and good. Yes, you are to love yourself. But what are you doing as far as not just loving yourself, but self-improvement? Did she learn anything about her behaviors that may have pushed her husband away? Or maybe or is she running away from taking responsibility for her end of the marriage and why the marriage could have been better? Or maybe this is just a mutual agreement between the two of them that they want to grow and they've gone as far as they can with each other, and now it's just time to do it without one another. And that's perfectly okay. That is perfectly okay. But I really don't think that people need to be dragging this man talking about he broke. This man works. He takes care of his kids. And every single time on the red carpet when he was right there with his wife and he wasn't, hey, I don't agree. But something I did want to touch on though, as far as relationships in Hollywood, is Lori Harvey. Now it's speculated, and I don't like speculation, because unless they come out and they say it, it's not the truth, honey. Saying that she's back together with Future. If she's back together with Future, so what? So what? Or is she the one that is leaving him behind and he is still in love with his wife? Sony, I think that could definitely, I think that's my opinion. Again, it's not my business, but she's the one who filed for the divorce. He says that he still loves his wife. She says that she still loves Corey. He's going to be a part of the family, but to me, she seems really strong about it, because usually the person who's doing the dumping and leaving the relationship, they've had time to mentally prepare for it, whereas the person who's left, they're kind of reeling from it. And I mean, hey, I'm not gonna lie to you, whatever his bank account looks like, it seems as though Tia is the one that's like, you know what, I'm ready to move on. And he may be like, I still love her, damn. And it may not be anything that he could do, so, and that's okay. It happens. I mean, it was my situation in my marriage, and that's why I can speak on it in that way. No, she just been trapped in a sunken place marriage. But the thing is that what's sunken place about Tia though? Tia has still made moves in her life and in her career. And I would rather say he's stuck in a sunken place, and maybe he's receiving a blessing by her leaving his life. Wouldn't it be something he all of a sudden blows up because she done left his life? She was the one who was blocking his blessings. Hey, you better be careful. How you never know. You never know. He's sitting there taking the back seat so she can shine. So I hope that he decides to go full force and focus on his career and rise up and be whomever he wants to be. You know? Yes, Sony. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. So you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So with me, I think with Brandon, it was easier because he was prepared, and also he had another person to help him through it. Whereas I was just alone and I was pining and wanting, my spouse back. But yeah, I mean, okay, so Lori Harvey. And we're going to talk about that as soon as I get done with my segment here. And again, tune into www.undergroundcolumbus.com if you would like to hear some of our unsigned artists, which happen to be students that attend here at the Ohio Media School. All right, you are listening to WUDG Underground Columbus. I am Sabrina Faith, and you are listening to SaBreezy Speaks. Happy Friday. It is a rainy Friday, and the weather is going to go even further down. It's going to be in the 40s tomorrow, and there's also a chance of some snow, so be careful out there, everyone. I hope you guys are going to still have a fabulous weekend. I'm here to start it off. The People's DJ Frost will be coming up at 2, and then Shahida is going to come and join us at 3 to 4 for our afternoon power push. Now, what we are discussing, and you can tune into the discussion on YouTube by searching for Sabrina Faith. We are currently live. We are discussing Tia Mowry and how people are speculating she threw shade at her soon-to-be ex-husband Corey Hardrick, saying that she possibly had to carry all of the financial weight in their relationship. A lot of people have echoed in the comment section and across all of social media that she should have left his butt at the bus stop when she met him. Do you agree that maybe she married him for his potential and not for who he is? And are you happy that she is free? Or would you like to know what Corey's perspective is on the marriage? How much does he make? Has he been pulling his weight? I mean, really, what is his goal when it comes to his career? Is he okay being a D-list actor, as they say? Or is he trying to become a super mega star in the movies? What do you think? I honestly have to say that in any relationship that ends, it's hard. And it must be even worse when you have a lot of people weighing in on your relationship who weren't in the relationship with you. So I do, again, want to continue to keep them up in prayer, especially their children as they transition. She says that they will always be friends, that she loves him. And I think that's a great thing to move forward in that positive energy. But if this is what she needed to do in order to be the best version of herself, then that is wonderful. And I say the same thing for Corey. I hope he takes this opportunity to be the best version of himself so they can continue to raise healthy kids. Keep it here on WUDG Underground Columbus. Why does it freeze? Stop freezing! Jeez. All right. We are back. So Lori Harvey, okay, the mic isn't live. Okay, cool. So Lori Harvey, I have no opinion on Lori. To me, Future should be no one's goal of a partner based on his behaviors, but it's her life. I'm just on the outside looking in, but you let Michael B go for Future. So, okay, so a lot of people, and I just wanted to really know what your perspective is, because I'm kind of, a lot of folks have been dragging Lori for breaking up with Michael B. Jordan, because everyone's like, oh, Michael B. Jordan seems like a stand-up gentleman, has a very great reputation. A lot of us soap fans, we became familiar with him for playing Reggie on All My Children. That's my first experience with that young man. And then I enjoyed his acting when he went to the big screen, when he was in Fruitville Station, if I'm saying that right, which was based on a true story of what happened to a black man at the train station. Phenomenal actor, and from pictures, we've seen that they look great on the red carpet. They just look so. I mean, it seems like couples goals. And it has been a warning for people not to go after people that looks like couples goals, because in that moment that they're taking the picture, you don't know what it took for them to get to that moment and what happens after that moment is over. And what I will say is that, yeah, it's like, oh, you had Michael B. Jordan, but we don't know who Lori is on the inside, and if they really didn't mesh together the way they should have. I just want to say that I am proud of her for not being peer pressured into a marriage that was going to end in divorce. This is Hollywood. This is the world. You mean to tell me, if you think that if they said he was wanting to marry her, you really think that if she ended up getting married to him, the two of them wouldn't have been divorced real soon? It takes so much more than just having a man who has money, who's gonna take you on trips and put a ring on it, because it says, it's my understanding she left because he wanted a family and commitment, but Future out here creating kids all over the place. I don't understand why she would go back to Future. I don't know. It could be a bad boy syndrome or something like that. And again, it's only alleged, so I'm not sure if that's true. And as far as Michael, I'm glad that Michael stood his ground on what he wanted, and that's what he wants. He has absolutely every right to want that. And if Lori feels like she can't do that for him, then you are best to leave that man alone. Because if she was to go through with it, knowing that she didn't want the same thing that he wanted, then she would have ruined both of their lives. You know what I mean? It would have ended in divorce. And think about if they would have brought children into the situation, it would have been heartbreaking. So even though I know we're all like, girl, how could you? Like, how could you? Um, okay, I'm sorry. I'm just looking. I guess there was still a segment. It got broken up, but I ain't worried about it. But so I think that it was a responsible thing to do, and it could have been a very hard decision for her to make, to break up with him. You know what I mean? Because if he's a really great guy, like he seems like, very loving and stuff, it probably would have been very hard for her to make that choice. So these are the moments in these people's lives that we don't see, and it's so easy for us to be online and be harsh on them. Then the question is, what do we get into relationships for? You're right. Um, you're absolutely right. In order to find that person that fits us, to build a solid foundation and have families and memories, and I mean, that's we as humans and as people, I mean, that's what God created us for, companionship. It sure is. And if she's not ready for that, then I, like I said, I applaud her for knowing that instead of doing it anyway and then breaking this man's heart later on, because it takes so much more to a marriage than somebody who can put a ring on it and everything. You know what I mean? Some people were being shallow and was like, oh, this man could take you on trips. He could put a ring on your finger. He can, I mean, look, gosh, look at him. I mean, you're not getting any younger, girl. Like, you should have nabbed Michael B. Jordan. You crazy. If it was me, I would have definitely let him put a ring on it and everything like that. So, in that regard, I applaud her because she's still a young woman, and maybe he didn't speak to her soul the way that she needs. We just have no idea. That doesn't mean he's not a great guy. We just really have no idea what it is. I don't know. What would you say, Sony? How have I mean, are you married, or are you dating anyone? Like, because I'm gonna be real with you. I got married to my spouse after a year. And I remember, for me, the reason why I wanted to get married was because I stopped and I thought, I really like this. It was peaceful. I mean, I enjoyed his company. We had fun. And I just thought to myself, if this is as good as it gets, I want this for the rest of my life. And that's why I got married. And we got married on our year anniversary. So within a year, but some people would argue that's not enough time to get to know somebody. And I would come back and say, well, you spend your whole life getting to know someone. That's where the commitment comes in. Because when the feelings come up and you're like, oh, I'm not, you are reminded of that commitment, and that, hey, it takes work. What area of work can I do on this relationship to improve it? Because some things get sluggish, and I feel like people are just so quick to just jump ship and go to something else instead of continuing to build on something meaningful. Like, you're not always going to want to, like, you're that person's going to get on your nerves. They're going to get annoying, but like, the commitment, like, I just I that's a very great question. How long does it take for you to know that this person is the person that you want to spend your life getting to know, and spend your life sharing and getting to know yourself? Because we're always constantly changing. We're not going to stay the same. um I'm married. Okay, absolutely, absolutely. Because I agree, I'm in that same boat. Like I said, within a year of being with my with my, yeah, I knew, and I wanted to marry him. There was, and I still don't have a regret about marrying him. And I never thought, oh, I married the wrong person. I should have not. No, I still, to this day, it was very hurtful, but I never questioned him. I always felt like I did. Oh, I did at times feel bad, and in those moments where you feel bad, you say stuff. But I don't have a regret. I wanted to marry him. I wanted to be his wife. So you're right. I really don't think it takes that long for you to know. It's just, are people really aware of the work that goes into maintaining a long-term relationship and commitment? It's work, and you have to constantly reinvent the relationship, because every day we're changing and we're reinventing ourselves. So there's bound to be some type of disconnect at some times. That's why communication and just continuing to be open to one another, it really makes a difference. And there's, even now, within the last year, we've been separated for a year and a half now, I believe. A year, pretty much a year and a half. And there's so many things even now that I'd be like, man, I wish I would have done this, differently. I would even think that way in the relationship. But again, it takes two. And it seems like Michael B. Jordan was willing to be the other half of that. But that's not what she wanted. So it's unfortunate, because, of course, we look at these couples, we're like, wow, they look so great. What's the problem? So it is what it is on that situation. So hopefully he will find that woman. I know people are going to be screaming when we see Michael B. Jordan step out with another woman. We are going to be screaming. We're going to be like, oh, Lori, in your face. Like, she's probably never going to hear the end of it when he does find that woman who's ready to settle down and he can give himself over to completely. But like I said, you never know what God has in store for you. um yes. And also in celebrity relationships, it's much more public than the private relationships. So there's probably the added pressure of, like we do on social media, dissecting every bit of the relationship. And it has to be pressure there. It absolutely, but it speaks to regular people too. Like I have has does anybody watch Divorce Court with Judge Lynn Toller? I love Judge Lynn Toller is my favorite out of all those judges. You can find the episodes on YouTube, like full length episodes. And these are regular people. And I just listen to the relationships and I listen to her advice. And a lot, even regular people, they go before the judge and we're listening to it and we're like, what are you still doing in this relationship? Did you really have to come on TV for this woman to tell you that you need a that this is not a healthy relationship for you to be in? And it's like, why are you staying? And I just wonder if it's because of human nature. It's like, well, we don't want to be alone. We want that companionship. We want to look at that person that we've been with for years, that knows us and we know them, and we form an attachment. And because we're human, it's so hurtful when we have to, a separation anxiety type of thing. It's hurtful. Even, you are right. You are right. You're right. I have a friend who's in a relationship with a gentleman, and I had to try to counsel her as best as I could because she was saying things, oh, like, oh, he's a jerk, and saying that she didn't feel appreciated, and he works too much. And I was like, what is it going to take for you to have peace? And are you going to be able to achieve that peace with or without him? And if you want to do it with him, you have to change your mindset and you have to change the language in which you refer to him. If you want it to work with him, stop saying he's a jerk. Say, you know what, he's a hardworking man. Start saying positive things. And I told her, I need you to make a list. I watched that movie, Why Did I Get Married? And in the movie, Janet Jackson's character, she had her friends write a pro and a con list of their relationships. And I told my friend, I said, you go ahead and you write a pro and a con list. And she said, oh, the cons are going to be much longer than the pros. And I said, even if that's the case, you write a pro and a con list. And if that man is the man you want to continue to be with, then you take that pro list and you run with it, honey. You build off of that. You build off of the positive aspects of your relationship and you watch it outshine those cons, honey. But be careful, because I know when we're in it, our emotions get welled up when we're frustrated. And we're like, you know what? I can't take it anymore. I don't want this relationship. I am out the door. And then when they're gone, we're left in quiet and we're reflecting and we're like, you know what? We could have worked on that. And you're wishing that person came back, but they done moved on with their lives and they're going on, and that opportunity has yes, because you speak that into existence, whether he turns into that or you convince yourself that is what he is. It is absolutely the truth. There is power in our words. Our words creates worlds, and it starts within our minds, and then we speak it into the existence. That's why the Bible, I understand people be like, oh, it's a work of fiction, but there's still a lot of truth and principles in the Bible, even for those who don't really believe it. But there is the power of life and death in the tongue. So I was just trying to help her to redirect that negativity that she was speaking out about him. And I was just saying, I don't believe you're going to leave him, and I think that you would regret it ultimately if you did, especially with you being upset. At least if you leave the relationship, let it be in peace. Let it be in peace, not in frustration or anger. Let it be in peace. So they're still working on it. They're still working on it right now. I'm not going to go into too many details because she's my friend and that's private. But of course, if I could, that's the best advice I could give to anyone in a relationship. If you really do love that person, just think about how you speak about them, you know, especially to other people. One thing she was telling me was he's like, she was annoyed because he's constantly asking every day, are we breaking up? Do you want to break up? And she's like, why are you asking me that every day? And I said, because I'm on the phone and I can feel that energy that you're giving off. So if I'm over the phone and I can feel it, imagine what it's like for him standing in the place that you share together, and he sees you every day. Then of course that would make him question and be like, are we okay? Like, are we okay? I would be more concerned if he wasn't asking, you know. So but like I said, it seems as though they're doing better. I really like both of them. He's a very nice guy. He works very hard, and so does she. So you know, I just don't want to be one of those friends, because you know there are people out there who are your friends, and oh, you are listening to WUDG Underground Columbus. My apologies, my screen keep freezing, honey. But tune in to us at www.undergroundcolumbus.com to hear some of the best music from Columbus's unsigned artists. We are still talking about relationships. How do you speak about your significant other? Do you uplift them with positive words, or do you belittle them with negative affirmations? My best advice to anyone who wants to have a lasting, loving relationship that continues to grow even in stagnation, you have to make sure that you maintain a positive mindset. I was just speaking with some of my subscribers here on the live stream, and you can join us on YouTube by searching for Sabrina Faith. And we were just going over the fact that our words create our worlds, okay? There is the power of life and death in the tongue. That is not just a biblical scripture, honey. I mean, that is a life law. So be careful of how you speak about your significant other, how you speak about you, and how you speak on the relationship. If you are in a point right now where you're just feeling as though, hey, this isn't working, I can't see the good here, take out a sheet of paper and write a pro and cons list. And I don't care how long the con list is. If you are certain that you want to continue to make things work with the person you are currently in a relationship with, then you take that pro list and you run with it, and you build on the positive aspects of that person. And make sure that you always remember that you cannot operate off of an empty cup, okay? Make sure that you're not just giving all of who you are to somebody, but that you are filling your cup, and that what runneth over is for everybody else. You are listening to WDG Underground Columbus. Okay. Okay, do I have another segment, or is that okay? Yeah, I have one more segment and then I am out of here. But so another thing about create the atmosphere you want to live in. You will never hear me speak negativity about my husband. You will never know we are in a disagreement. That is so beautiful. And that's something that I wanted very much in my own relationship. And I'm like, when I said earlier in the show that we don't know what happened between, you know, Tia and Corey, and maybe her stepping out of the way and moving on could bring in a blessing for Corey, and the same for her. You know, so whatever she wants is out there, and whatever he wants is out there. You know, there's provision for everyone. Okay, that's what the word of the Lord says, and I try to remember that for myself personally, because there are times, and I don't even know if I've fully gotten through the grieving process, because we're still processing the divorce. So, you know, him moving out of the way and moving on with his life was my blessing, because I was in a situation, as those who, like Sony said, and anyone else who's been on this channel, where I was just continuously being spoken about in a negative manner. I remember even going to my mother-in-law and saying, and asking her, he said nothing positive about me. He's like, said nothing positive about me at all. It's just a bunch of complaints, and she's not doing this, and she's writing about a boyfriend in a journal, and like you spent 7 years with me and you don't have anything good to say about me. And I even asked him that. I said, you have nothing good to say about me. And he just was like, I like that you listen to me. And and he did, that's it. So it's so important to be with somebody who uplifts you. And also, you if you're not, you need to be that for yourself. And that's what I've learned. I can't wait for somebody to come along and tell me how great I am. I have to walk in it. I have to know it for myself. However, we are human and we do need validation. Okay, we do need the people in our lives to help us to see sometimes when we fail to. So it's important. That's why they say you are who you're around, and why a lot of people noticed that I looked different after a while. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. I think you're healing slowly, but you must be on guard. That's how that other guy slipped in. I'm glad you caught it before you got caught up. Me too. Me too. And I think that's a part of the growth, because before, and I told somebody before, I would have just stayed in it, you know? But I think because of what I went through, it has made me sharper. So you're absolutely right. You have to be on guard at all times, and take your time. Of course, like we were saying, as people, we want companionship, and especially with me and Layla, my dream is that there will be a man that'll come along who will love Sabrina and speak highly and uplift Sabrina. And I can give that same energy back to him, and that he will love my daughter, and understand we are a package deal, and want family and commitment, and want to build on a really solid and peaceful foundation. And that's just going to take some time. And I'm not interested in rushing the process, because something that I did learn is that I hurt somebody too. I hurt them because I wasn't ready, and I was bringing that pain, and I automatically was like, oh, you're going to do the same thing he did to me, and I can't take that, and I pulled back. So that's my part of it, and that's not fair to somebody, so if I'm not ready, I'm not ready, and I don't want to rush the process and then be in another season of heartbreak, in that regard, especially since Layla is getting older. And I've noticed about my daughter, she's she picks up on my spirit. She really does. She picks up on my spirit. So I just have to be careful, because she's watching her mother like a hawk. She repeats after her mother. Okay. She really does. So I have to be very mindful of who I let in my life, because whoever is in my life is in her life too. And I don't want the wrong people pouring into me and my daughter. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and I think that's a very important part of all relationships, accountability. You cannot, it is really hard to have a relationship with someone who is not trying to be accountable, because you're not going to be able to resolve your problems in a healthy way. You're just not. So accountability is really, really important. And I think it hurts more to avoid accountability than it does to face it head on, because you're just dragging out the process. So own your stuff. Own your stuff. And yes, this is a very great conversation. And it also shows how much I have grown since the ending of my marriage, And I do know it wasn't just him. And there's a lot of things that I haven't unpacked about that. So it's a process, but I definitely am going to take my time. Take my time, and do my best to take my own advice, and not to ignore the red flags just because I don't want to be lonely, because I have witnessed being in a home, sharing a home with somebody in a relationship, and still feeling lonely, you know? So right now it's really just being Sabrina's best company, really understanding who Sabrina is and what she wants. What am I doing? You know, I don't want to go into somebody's life and be confused and then they're confused, like, but I thought you said, and I'm like, well, I don't know. No, I want to be sure of who I am. Thank you for your prayers and thank you for going through that journey with me. Thank you so much because it was hard. It was hard. And it's still, I'm past the point of being jealous because I was very jealous. I mean the way it looks like on the outside to me. My spouse done went and got himself a new girl, who dresses the way he wants to see his woman dress, and he done gave her a baby, and he's welcoming her other child into the situation, and she's welcoming my daughter, and now they have a home together. And I mean, it's like, but you had a family and now you're just having another one, and I'm over here. So from the outside, it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. And there are times where they pull up and I'm not jealous, but I feel nothing but just anger, just complete and utter anger. And I have to walk past it and just be like, whoa. But but to even get to that point where I'm not breaking down crying every day is a relief. And crying, there's nothing wrong with crying. Crying is just release. It's just a release. So even when I do cry, it's still a healthy way to release all of those emotions and to heal. So I've learned a lot, and I pray that I can be helpful to someone else one day. Even my own daughter, I don't know what she'll go through when she gets older and enters into relationships herself. So I just pray that what I went through will make me an asset, not a liability, but to help someone grow through their process. Because I've heard a lot from other women and even men who have said, we all go through this, and that better days are yet to come, and that your blessing is on the other side of this situation. And I still struggle to see that sometimes, but but faith is the evidence of things seen and unseen. So even though I struggle to see it, that doesn't mean I don't have faith that it's not there. I just rather push and continue to hold on and do my best to just stay strong and get through it until I get to that moment where I feel complete peace. I mean, even just last night in my apartment, I'm looking around and all that I have been able to do on my own with the support of those who love me and care for me, whether they be on YouTube or my friends and my sister or my fellow colleagues here at school. I just looked around my home, and my daughter, she's laying next to me and she's sleeping peacefully, safe and sound. And I just thank God so much. And I'd be like, God, we did it. I did it. Thank you. Because I was so scared last year. I was so scared last year about where we were going to lay our heads and how this was going to work out. And I'm just so thankful. It sure is. It sure is. I tell people all the time, if not for prayer, Layla, and poetry, I would not have made it through. I would not have made it through, because the first thing I knew to do was to go back to church and just try to pray and ask God for strength. And then Layla being there and her looking at me as her mommy and being like, okay, girl, you gotta straighten up. You can't just be down here crying, because she's gonna be crying with you too, and you can't do that. And then with poetry, when he was leaving and all this stuff was happening, I just pulled out a pen and paper, and it was just like, I gotta do something with it, because if I don't, I feel like I'm gonna die. So it's very true. And I pray that other people who are going through this or that they've had something that they can hold on to. I'm very fortunate and very blessed, because some people, they don't have that. They don't have something constructive to get into when they're dealing not just with heartbreak, but with grief of any kind. We lose, we lose people we love, or jobs that we wanted, opportunities, and it causes grief. And a lot of the turmoil that we experience in the world today is that we don't know how to channel that grief into positive and constructive ways to build up ourselves and our lives. So again, I really hope that not only through poetry, but even these live streams, it'll bring about some type of healing for others, great ideas of how to move forward in power, and just to be an asset. I want to be helpful, not helpless. We are all helpful. We are not helpless. Okay, never that. So, but yeah, it's been great. And speaking of spoken word, I am excited, and I keep telling myself, don't speak that you're nervous. Speak that you are confident. That you are confident. I've been practicing and practicing and practicing for the poetry slam tomorrow. There's cash prizes for both first, second, and third, for all three. First place prize is $500. Second place is $125, and then third place is $75. My thing is, like, I mean, money is, yes, free money, honey. Woo! But I want to make a statement. Like, this is like, I was going to go to the slam because my friend, he's going to be in it. And excuse me. And I'm like, yes, I'm definitely going to support my friend. And then I realized, I was like, well, I can support and still be on purpose. And I'm not really sure why I was going to go and just sit in the crowd. But when I went to go purchase my ticket, I was like, why would I go to a poetry slam as a poet and sit in the audience? Why would I not be on stage, be on purpose? Like, girl, get on that stage. It's only $10 extra to get yourself into that slam, honey. You get up there and you do your thing, okay? Like, what was all this preparation for if you're just gonna sit in the crowd? No, you can be supportive and be on purpose and fill your cup. Me doing that fills my cup. And I want my cup to runneth over. And I want to be a blessing unto others. And something that truly is a blessing. And another message that I want to get out to anyone who may be listening is, you truly do reap what you sow, but you reap more than what you've sown. The example I can give is that when a man puts his seed into a woman, he doesn't get it back in the same way he gave it. He gets a whole child that grows into more than what he gave. Same thing with the seed of an apple or the seed of corn. You get a whole stalk with so many corn on the cob, so many corn cobs. Same thing with the tree. It takes time for that tree to grow, but you get a multitude of apples on that tree, more than the one seed that you gave. So whatever you sow into, understand you are going to get more than what you gave. And you may not be the recipient of what it was. It could take generations. So whenever I think of what I'm doing now, I'm thinking of how it can impact my daughter's generation. How can it impact my grandchildren's generation? And to see my daughter, when I'm performing my poetry, the other night I was practicing in the mirror, and she's laying in the bed eating chips, and she's watching me. And we're sitting there, and I'm like, high five, girl, mommy did it. And then I'm like, okay, Layla, go to the bathroom, our routine, time to get into bed. And she's walking to the bathroom, and all of a sudden she's like, I live to go to work and make money. And I was like, oh, you quoting me? And so I picked up, and I was like, even though what I do is such a bore compared to the reality I long for. And we were just going back and forth like that. My daughter knows my poetry. I'm like, what? And I'm just like, you like watching mommy? She's like, oh, look, it's Sabrina Faith. And I'm just in awe, and I'm so thankful to God. And those are the moments where I'm like, if I was still with her father, would I be who I am today for my daughter to look up to me in a positive way and to quote me in a positive way? It's one thing when she walks around and she quotes the Golden Girls, or she quotes All in the Family, or, she even watches Good Time, like stuff that she likes, she's quoting stuff. But my very own creations and I try to be very positive in my messages and uplifting. And I think those are so phenomenal. And that my daughter picks up on that is truly a blessing. So I hope that I can keep doing that and keep being that for my daughter. Like I just pray for that. I just pray for my life. I just pray for God to keep my life as long as He possibly can, because you don't know. And I really hope that my daughter and I have the time for me to know her. That's the best thing about watching her grow, is that she's learning who she is, and I want to watch that unfold. And I also want her to know me as her mother for herself, and not through word of mouth, but by her experience. And I'm so thankful that of all the things that came out of my marriage, she's not the only good thing, in my opinion. She's not the only good thing, but she truly is the greatest gift, though. She truly is. And I'm just so thankful for her life. And I'm thankful that God placed her with me, because it really has helped to keep me from falling into a depression, because I was very close to a depression. But anyway, the show is almost over. I have one more song, and you can listen to our songs by tuning into www.undergroundcolumbus.com. Right now, Queen by Hanny Leland is playing right now. And most of the music that is featured on our radio comes from the students that attend here at the Ohio Media School. So we have some very talented and creative people here. In December, we will be having a talent show. Hopefully, I would love to live stream it on my YouTube channel for you all to see. I'm going to take part in the talent show as well. The first rehearsals for it is going to be this coming Monday, so I'm looking forward to it. I really am very happy that doors are opening and there are opportunities that I can be a part of and flex my creativity. It really feels great to feel useful and to feel like you are a vessel which purpose can be produced. So I hope today, if you're listening, what makes you feel like a vessel, like a vessel from which purpose is being produced? What is your personal purpose in your life? What brings you joy? What brings me joy is being Layla's mom, and poetry, and learning to take care of Sabrina. Those are the things that bring me joy in my life right now. And I'm just so thankful that I'm able to be and have that journey in my life. But yeah, so coming up after me is the People's DJ Frost. And again, you can hear him on our website at www.undergroundcolumbus.com. And Shahida is coming up after him at 3 to 4 o'clock. And I will be back again next Friday. To recap, we discussed Tia Mowry and her marriage and the speculation that she married a broke guy from the bus stop. And we also discussed Lori Harvey and her decision to break up with Michael B. Jordan. And then we even got to touch on relationships. And hopefully in the future we can continue to have healthy talks like these about healing, about putting yourself first, and accountability, and making sure that you are taking care of yourself to the utmost, because you are your greatest asset. Also, maintaining a positive mindset, not only about you, but the people who are around you, especially if you want to have a long, successful relationship. Don't speak down on the person that you're with and think that you're going to have a fruitful relationship with them. No, speak positive. Draw from the positive aspects. What do they bring to the table? And make sure you tell them thank you. Thank you, and I appreciate you for what you do and what you bring into my life. And you also want somebody who can provide you that same positivity, those same affirmations and validation. But here's my segment coming up. And it freezes. I need to hit this like 10 seconds beforehand. Hello, you are still here on WDG Underground Columbus with Sabrina Faith, host of SaBreezy Speaks. Please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel by searching for Sabrina Faith so you can get in on the discussion on my live stream. I am here every Friday from 1 to 2 o'clock, and then after me is the People's DJ Frost from 2 to 3, and then we have Shahida coming up from 3 to 4 to go ahead and round out our afternoon power push. I hope you all are going to have a great and safe weekend. Stay warm because temperatures are dropping into the 40s, okay? And there's a possibility for snow, so drive safe out there, whatever your plans may be. Again, I just want to reiterate some of the things that we discussed on the live stream. We talked about Tia Mowry and her relationship, and we talked about Lori Harvey and her decision to leave Michael B. Jordan. And then we were just talking about relationships in general and how you can make the best of your experience with the person that you're with. What I will say is when you are feeling frustrated and overwhelmed with whomever you are in a relationship with, just do your best not to leave the relationship in anger or out of frustration, but make sure that it is done from a place of peace. So when the dust settles, you will know in the utmost confidence that you made the right decision for you and that person. Okay, so that you're not left feeling guilt or holding the bag and thinking, oh, what if, I could have done this. No, just take a deep breath. And again, I recommend writing a pro and a con list. And if you are insistent upon being with that person, even after the cons outweigh the pros, then you run with the positive aspects of that pro list and you build on that foundation, okay? You continue to uplift yourself. Make sure that you are operating from a full cup because you cannot help others and your cup is empty, honey. You are your greatest asset and you need to take care of you to the utmost because you are valuable. You are priceless. There is no other you that can ever come into this earth. And people need you and what you have to offer this world. So make sure that you are operating in purpose and on purpose, and that you are sowing the best seeds that you possibly can reap, honey, because you get more than what you have given out, okay? And it all comes back, all right? Again, I hope everyone has a fabulous weekend. I have enjoyed being on the show for this last hour. It has been a great conversation to be had. I hope everyone is enjoying the replay. Again, check me out on YouTube, Sabrina Faith, and I will be back here again next weekend. Wish me luck. I'm going to the Cincinnati Poetry Slam, honey, with a group of my friends. We are definitely going to travel safe, but you all enjoy your weekend. I will be back. Love you here on WUDG Underground Columbus. All right, I'm done for the day. Okay, thank you so much for tuning into today's show. I hope you all have a great weekend. I will be back. All right, take care. Bye.